challenge of trying to make this a player-led program while maybe increasing the intensity all around. Just what have you seen from the guys, especially since you were here last year? Maybe how have the returning guys grown as leaders through spring camp?
Yeah, I would say for me personally, first off, like for me, I got Gator in my blood right now, and I'm always gonna bring intensity, attention to detail, and passion to coaching these guys. I think each player out there individually needs that, and so I think the guys are excited to go out there and play football. I think we got a good group of players that love the game, and so you know we're in the thick of things right now, getting started. We put pads on, and we're going through the process right now. And I do believe there's energy out there, and guys are excited to play the game.
Brendan Betts singled out a good bit. What ways has he made a leap in your mind, and how much harder are you able to coach him now that he's been in the program for a little bit?
Yeah. I've always been very demanding with him. He's had to grow a lot, and I do believe he's grown. And there's new challenges. There's new challenges each year with each player. He's taking on more of a leadership role, and but as a leader, his teammates have to have his back as well. They have to help him carry the load. And so I think he's going through that phase right now where, he's had to grow as an individual, and now, he's viewed as a leader and more of a leader by his process. The things that he does, like, how the steps he's taking in the weight room, his extra work off the field. But when things get challenging, he needs his teammates to help carry the load for him.
What stands out about the way Coach Summerall approaches practice?
Yeah, I think just coach as an individual, man. There's a lot of energy. He's over there in the D-line drills. He comes over there every day. Sometimes I don't see him and realize that he was there. But I think that he's all over the field, which I think is great. For a head coach to be to be all over the field and have energy and have a presence. I think that's really good for my guys to see him over there. And see the intensity that he brings every day.
Does that maybe fuel you? I mean, you're already a pretty intense guy, but when you have the head coach coming over to your group and just as louder, if not louder than you are, does that maybe challenge you?
Yeah, I think it doesn't challenge me. I mean, I think it's Gator on top of Gator. It's Gator blood on top of Gator blood. Like, it's hot. It's running hot right now on that field, on the offensive side and the defensive side. So I feel very comfortable, in this environment. And it doesn't bother me at all. Like I embrace that.
You said last month it was going to get real for LJ McCrae. What has he shown so far through the first week?
Yeah, he's actually improving, and I just talked to him today on the field about, I'm not gonna let him let up. I'm not gonna let him get comfortable. Sometimes when you tell guys like, hey, good job, then some guys tend to like, okay, I did it now, right? Take a deep breath. And I told him I'm not giving you an inch, but he is improving, and the other day in the meeting room, I grabbed his notebook and put it over the overhead. I still use the overhead, kind of old school style, and I went through his notebook, and he has elite notes, very detailed notes. He's writing down things in the team meeting room. He's writing down things when we crash as a D-line, and I just want to turn him loose right now, though, and get him, enjoying playing the game. I do believe he's enjoying playing the game right now, and now we just got to continue to fine-tune the details with his technique. So, but he is improving.
What's your just dynamic like working with Coach Jeremy Patterson, and how much have you seen him grow and get more comfortable and take on more responsibilities?
No, I think I'm blessed to have Coach Patterson with me. He's heavily involved in everything that I do or that we do as a defensive line unit, including recruiting. If you ask even some of our top recruits, it's not just me, it's him as well. He's very hands-on with the players. Literally hands-on. Physically hands-on. He had a jersey on today, actually. Because they rip his T-shirt. But, he's very hands-on, man, and it's a blessing to be able to have him. I coached him at Tennessee State, and I think that it's just a blessing and a unique dynamic to be able to have him, because sometimes the players look at him like, hey, you had to deal with this, and so it's really good to have him.
I was going to ask, but just what do you think kind of message that sends to the players when they're seeing Coach Summerall working on special teams? They're seeing guys, running out there as well, in coverage, and then they see Coach Patterson trying to block them. What kind of message does that send to them about?
Yeah, I think that it lets them know that we're in it with them. And I always tell I always tell my guys, like, hey, look, I'm in the ring with you. Like, it's not just me being the coach and I'm telling you what to do. Like, I'm in the ring with you. We got extra eyes and we got an extra set of eyes to be able to detail, like, what we do. And so I think it gives the players support. They let them, let the players know that, we're on the ground. We got boots on the ground as well, cleats on the ground as well. So I think it gives them a sense of support.
How did Coach Patterson handle you as a coach?
Yeah, he had his day. He had his days. He had his days, but he was always a guy that got extra film. Was always in my office. Sometimes he tried to use that to skip class, and I wouldn't know he's in there watching tape. And coach, I'm like, hey, don't you supposed to be at class? And it's like, oh yeah, coach, you was talking ball. I'm like, okay, you got one over on me, but yeah, no, he had his days, man, and that was I coached him back when coaches actually had to check class and like go out on campus and that type of thing. So. I got a lot of stories on him. So.
Does it help to have somebody, that knows your standard, kind of working with you through it?
Yeah, we speak the same language, and I think that's helpful for the guys. Having support where if I'm not there, he's gonna speak the same language, same message.
Watching you, I don't know if this is specific to you or if it's every position group, but it looks like you've got maybe a mentor, mentee for the players. Like, is that, do you pair them up and the older guys get a younger guy?
Yeah, I do. Like I've been doing that for the last 2 years, kind of like a mini big brother, little brother program. And so this year I actually didn't assign it. They kind of pointing the big brother, little brother out themselves. So Mbachi was like, I got Kendall, but I think Kendall may be easier than maybe a Jeraylin. So he got first dibs on Kendall or whatever the case may be. But yeah, so we kind of, that way there's some accountability, some ownership amongst the group, even though I yell a lot, and pretty much today I yelled at them about, hey, I can't be the only one that's yelling. Like, I need that to come from you more. I need more leadership from the players. So demanding leadership, that's the phase we're in right now. It's just developing demanding leadership from those guys.
And then when a guy doesn't go through a drill, you send him back to his buddy sometimes and go, figure it out?
Yeah, that's our opportunity to work our craft. So, that's where we get a chance to do it right. In the game, you don't get a do-over. So when we go to individual and we work on our craft, we get a chance to actually do it the right way. And so if you can get them to do it the right way consistently, then they'll have a better chance to win.
Coach Bray, I was talking about how he wanted to see when pads got on, how physical guys were going to be. Just what are your early impressions of how this team is handling the physicality that you guys are demanding out of them?
Yeah, I think also, I think we're in the learning phase as well. So I think that sometimes, some guys may need to, take the thinking out of it and just go. And I think that, but we're in the learning phase, learning new defense, new scheme against new schemes. That's one thing that's unique as well, is that we see different schemes, from our offense. And then we have to, run our schemes against the new schemes that the offense is giving us every day. And so it's a great challenge. But I think the guys will continue to amp that up, the physicality, once we know exactly what to do and exactly how to do it.
What do you see from the freshmen so far, especially KJ Ford?
Yeah, like I said, he's in a learning phase. I think Coach Van Hartman is doing a really great job with him, and just he's learning, and we're all on the same line, but we're all in it together. And so, Coach Bam and I will work together on the pass rush games and kind of intertwine in that. And so I think it's been good with all those young guys.
What did you see from Joseph to start? I know he's out right now, but just his initial.
He's a striker, man. He's a striker. He's heavy-handed. He's gonna have to continue to work his footwork and stay off the ground and make sure that he has really good run agility. But he can convert to the quarterback and has good conversion rush. So no, I think that his presence is important as well. I think that he's a guy he's an impactful guy when he's there.
How's he carrying the extra weight?
Yeah, he's handling it well. His frame grew, so he got extra weight, but he has the frame to be able to carry that weight.
What do you think Coach Harris brings to that position group?
Coach Harris, Brandon Harris to his position group. Yeah, I mean, I think Yeah, I think those guys. Yeah, I think those guys got a lot of energy back there. Detail coaching. Coach Harris's position room is right next to mine. I can hear him through the wall. So a lot of passion, a lot of energy. But also, I believe he's a great teacher. Just being in the meeting room with him, just believe he's a great teacher and contributor to the overall defense.
You said that LJ McCrae has to go to work, and you want to see it out of him. Like you said to him, does he know what he's getting into? Just how have you seen him attack these first 4 practices?
Yeah, I think he has stayed consistent to basically what he told me before we started. He's embracing it, and I think he'll continue to get better.
What's the challenge for a guy like that who comes in so highly acclaimed and doesn't have immediate success and then has an injury?
Yeah, I think sometimes it's good for guys to take a step back. I think they appreciate the process and the work a little bit more. Not that he didn't do that before, but he did have a lot of adversity. And I just think when people go through adversity in general and they find a way to persevere, then you start to see progress.
I did see you kind of get on to Mason a little bit the other day. I mean, what's the challenge with maybe trying to get transfers up to speed, and how did you guys kind of identify them in the portal when you were looking at it?
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes when you bring a transfer in, it's a new environment. There's new players. It's a new coach. So just getting adjusted to the new environment, and then like I said, my coaching style is a little bit different, and it's very demanding. And so sometimes it may be a challenge for guys to have to deal with that on a daily. But just being understanding, when we hit the grass and the demand and the passion. Just understanding that. I think he's going through that phase. And I think he's made every practice. He's showing up, and he's eager to learn.
How did you guys identify him in the portal when you were looking to add at defensive line?
Yeah, our personnel staff, they usually have a list to identify guys, and then they bring them to the coaching staff. So we have a process with how we identify, and then we basically rank our guys and go from there.
What were maybe some of the key traits when you were looking at his film or evaluating?
Yeah, he has size. He has measurables that we look for. He has the playing experience. I think that he'll continue to develop his technique. I think he needs a good amount of technique work, and he's still learning. And so we basically evaluated him for his upside.
Building off of that, though, Cam James was someone who's being vocal that day too. I mean, what has it been like to have him in your room, and how has he maybe helping with the player accountability?
Yeah, it's been good. With Cam James, he's actually been able to, he's picking up on, some of the new techniques and the new processes, and it's been good. He's an experienced player, and I think that he'll continue to detail his work, and he'll have some improvements as well.
Thank you, Coach.
All right.